What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Poker House 2-5 live stream. We're at the Mecca and we're excited.
Shout out to our comment giveaway winner, this guy right here. $10 coming your way. Comment and we'll pick someone to win $10 this time.
Welcome back, everyone, and this session is a banger. You're not going to want to miss a single hand, so stay tuned. First hand for me, we see Tricky Fish open to 20 and the boy calls. Tricky Fish is pretty loose and so is the boy, so when we wake up with ace queen offsuit on the button, definitely going to be raising this one up. I make it 105 and just Tricky Fish makes a call. Flop comes jack 9 deuce rainbow, he checks, and I bet small to $90 like I would with almost all my holdings, and he makes a call with 2 overcards and a straight draw. Turns the 4 diamonds and he checks again, and now the question is whether to continue bluffing or just check this card back. I think Tricky Fish is going to have a lot of hands that might connect with this board and have a little bit of equity like some straight draws, but also have some lower pairs as well that floated that flop, and I think a large bet here is going to accomplish folding out pretty much everything besides the jack. We do have the ace of diamonds too, so I size up betting $300 here, putting max pressure on him, and he quickly makes a fold, and we scoop the first pot in. Always nice to start it off right.
It's the stand-up game. We see the straddle on for 10, the double straddle on for 20, and we've got ace-king offsuit in the hijack. We want to sit down, we make it 60, and Joey, who is also standing, calls on the button. We're off to a flop heads up, which comes ace-6-3 with 2 spades. We c-bet $85, about half pot, and Joey makes the call. The turn, with about $327 at stake, is the 8 of clubs, bringing in a backdoor flush draw. There's tons of draws, weaker ace X's to get value from. We're betting, and we're betting big. I bet $200 over half pot, and Joey calls again. So I think we're looking to fade some stuff on this river with over $700 at stake. And it's the 6 of hearts, an offsuit card. Pairs the board, but it's a dud in my eyes. And now I actually decide that the play here is to give Joey some rope if he wants to bluff with a missed draw, because all these draws missed. We check, Joey thinks about it, and rips it all in for $493. We make the call, he says we're good, we show, and we scoop this $1,700 pot.
This hand we're playing 2-5-10 and wake up with a monster ace king in early position and decide to put in that sneaky limp to 10. There's 2 more callers and it's onto the straddle, which is the boy. I'm nervous it's going to check through, but he answers my prayers and bumps this one up to $80. Now this is where the hand gets interesting. I decide just a flat here. I think this is a really large sizing and I don't expect the other 2 limpers to have much of a strong holding. We can play well above our range in position against the boy, hopefully heads up. I flat, Jay makes a fold, and now Tricky Fish, we see that he was getting tricky as well. He springs that trap and back raises now to $300. I'm licking my chops here thinking what kind of strong hands can he even have that just limps in the small blind and now decides to raise. And now it's on to the boy who jams all in for $900. What the heck is going on? I'm super confused here and I actually strongly consider folding ace king. However, if we look it back over, like I said before, I'm not sure how many strong hands Tricky Fish is really going to be limping in the small blind and then raising. He might have looked at this raise as weak and my call is even weaker and thought that if he squeezed to 300, he could get this one through. I think the boy knows that as well, and some meta might be playing in there where he's going to also be rejamming wider than usual. And so I think ace king is just too strong to fold. I rejam all in for $1,300 and this puts Tricky Fish in the blender. He thinks it over for a few minutes. He's also confused on what sort of strong hands I would have that would limp and then just flat. However, after some thinking, he decides to make the call. So now we're 3 ways all in a massive over $3,000 pot. The boy knows he's crushed here with his ace jack and he asks us to run it 3 times. And I normally would say no because it takes a while and it's just kind of boring to watch 3 runouts, but if someone really wants to do it, I don't really care. It doesn't really change anything. I say sure, and Tricky Fish agrees as well, so we're off to 3 runouts and we'll fast forward them for you guys to make the viewing experience a little bit more enjoyable. We river a king on the first board, turn an ace on the second board, and unfortunately lose the third board. We scoop 2/3 of this massive pot. Always a good feeling to win a big one with ace king.
Next hand for me, we've got pocket kings under the gun +1. You know we're coming in for that early position limp, our controversial play. You know, people say it's going to limp around, it's a weak spot, you're going to be screwed. Not in Texas, guys. The guy directly to our left opens it up to 30, folds back to us, and we 3-bet to 100. And sure enough, he makes the call. So we're going to a flop out of position, which comes queen jack 4 with 2 clubs. We're going for a c-bet. I make it 75. And this guy goes for the raise to $200. Now, we lose to queens, jacks, fours, queen jack, but we've got a monster. We're hanging in there. We make the call. The turn is an offsuit 3. You love to see it. There's 600 in the pot. We check it over to him, and he checks it back. The river is a king. If I was worried about him having a hand that beat us before, I'm not worried anymore. And now I think it's time to go for value, and I want to go for some thin value. I like doing this because either we're going to get called by a hand that would normally fold to a bigger bet, and we also could look weak and induce a raise bluff. If he was bluffing us on the flop, maybe he'll bluff us again on the river. So I make it 175. He goes into the tank and makes the call with pocket sixes. He thought we were full of it. We were not, and we scoop a $957 pot.
January 29th, Next Gen Poker is hosting a first ever meetup game tournament. It's only a $130 entry, a $10,000 guarantee. This hand, there's an open from Jay in the hijack to 20, and the button makes a call, and we wake up with the glorious 7-deuce offsuit in the big blind. Just a note that the 7-deuce bounty was on, that's why this hand is included in here, and there's a $25 a person bounty, meaning there's $200 of total invisible money that only I can see in the pot, and also only I can win. So therefore, definitely going to be coming in for that 3-bet, and I size up to 120. Jay makes a call, however, and we're heads up to a flop, and it comes 10-7-6 with 2 hearts. Flopping middle pair, not much more you can ask for with the 7-deuce. Pretty good flop for me. However, I decided to start it off with a check to not only pot control, but also just check on a board that's not really going to favor my range out of position. Jay checks it back though, which is a great sign, and we see an offsuit queen on the turn. Although this is a great card for my range, and I typically would be betting on this card, I know Jay loves to put the pressure on, and we really can't hold on versus much of that, so I check once again. Jay senses that weakness and pounces on it with a bet of 150. I didn't check the fold, I make the call, and we see a great river, the 3 of clubs. Besides 5-4 suited, this card really is insignificant. I check, and now Jay blasts it for $275. It seems like a really milky sizing, but the pot is $840, really $1,040 for me, so we are getting an amazing price against an opponent who loves to jump on weakness. I make the call once again and see the defeat in Jay's eyes, and I'm proud to show that we picked off the bluff, won the $200 bounty, and won the $1,100 pot, but most importantly, we got the fame and glory of winning the 7-deuce game.
Here we've got the beautiful King Jack of Hearts. We're on the button and we open it up to 20. Joey, our homie, calls in the big blind. And we're off to a flop heads up, which comes King 8-5 rainbow, no heart. Joey checks. We've got top pair. We're c-betting it and we make it $30. Joey, however, has a pretty good hand and he comes in for the check raise to 80. I don't know this quite yet. We've got top pair, decent kicker. I'm not feeling amazing with no backdoor draw, but we're making the call right now. So we're off to a turn, 200 in the middle, and it is an ace. The ace of clubs, a card I do not like to see. But Joey checks. I'm happy to get closer to showdown at a card that I didn't like, so I check it back. And we're off to a river, which is an offsuit 9. And now Joey is going to put some more money in the middle to the tune of $115. Now, I honestly don't really like this 9 either, because the one draw that I can think of on the flop of 6-7 now gets there. We do see the backdoor clubs miss, but we at the end of the day just have a bluff catcher, and I don't think it's very good. I don't think this is our spot per se. We were able to catch Joey bluffing earlier in a spot that felt way more comfy with ace king. I think this isn't that spot, so I make the fold. Thankfully we can see it was correct, but Joey does get some money back from us. Nice hand, man.
The boy opens a 15 this hand, and we're on the button with ace-8 of clubs and decide to defend. The big blind calls as well, and we're 3 ways to a flop of jack 10-7 with 2 diamonds and a club. The big blind checks, and the boy continues for $30. We've got a lot of potential to make a strong hand here, so I call in position, and Rosey gets out of the way. Turn is the bink 9 of clubs. Not only do we make the straight, if he had an 8 as well, we're free rolling him now because we have the nut flush draw to go along with it. He, however, slows down and checks. I definitely want to start building this pot. I bet $60 here, and it doesn't take long for the boy to make the call, so assuming he has something strong here, maybe a diamond draw, a bigger straight draw, or something like 2 pair. River is pretty unnecessary. It's a 10 of clubs. We make our flush now, and the boy checks it over to me once again. I really want to go small here and see if he'll pay me off with a jack. I bet $100, and it doesn't take long for the boy to snap call. We show, we're good, and see we are up against a flop 2 pair of jack 7 offsuit. Let's go.
We've got pocket jellos, and this hand is 2, 5, 10, 20, 40. So when it gets to us in the cutoff and we open, we're opening to $100. We see the under the gun straddler call and the under the gun +2 straddler call. So we're going 3 ways to a flop, which comes ace, 8, 7 with 2 spades, checks to me. Of course that ace shows up every single time, right? Not going to be c-betting here multi-way. We check it back, and the turn is an offsuit queen. It actually checks to me again, and we've been downgraded to 3rd pair. I want to get closer to showdown. I check again, and the river is an offsuit queen, pairing the board. Under the gun checks. The boy has had enough of all this checking nonsense, and he bets 225 over 2/3 pot. And we are now going to have to think about it. In my mind at the moment, I'm thinking an ace bets the turn, right? Like, it would make not a ton of sense for him to check an ace on the turn. So it really comes down to queen or nothing, in my opinion. And it's less likely he has a queen when another one comes out on the river. And the boy is known to get a little aggressive, especially when he smells weakness. And there has been a ton of weakness shown this hand. So I think we have a pretty good candidate to make the call here. Hopefully we're right. Under the gun folds, and you guys can see the boy has 10 high. We scoop a $777 pot.
Another huge announcement. Us at Next Gen Poker have a new merch shop. Go check it out right now. The link is going to be in our description. Tons of new items, new colors, new sizes, as well as some really cool accessories, including a limited edition Next Gen bucket hat. Go check it out. The link is going to be in our description. It would mean the world if you guys want to support us that way. We're playing the good old Texas stand-up game now, and there's a cutoff open from Tricky Fish. The boy makes a call, and we wake up with the ladies in the big blind. I 3-bet here to 160. And then Benji in the straddle has some news for us. He 4-bets us to 375. Folds back to me. Benji's one of the tighter players at the table, and we're pretty deep. He's mostly going to have about 10s plus here, and maybe some ace-queen suited, as well as ace-king. I decide just to call, play some post-flop poker, and the flop is good. It comes 9-8-5 with 2 diamonds. I check, he bets small for 200, and I don't really see any other move here than to just call and assess the turn card, which is an offsuit 4. Again, another solid card for us. We still hold an overpair. I check, and now Benji decides to slow down and check this one back. The river is an offsuit 9, and this is a really safe card. And now the question is really whether or not to bet and get value from pocket 10s and pocket jacks, or to see if he wants to bluff off with ace king or ace queen. On this board, however, ace king high really isn't that bad in a 4-bet pot. A small bet here might actually accomplish getting value from weaker pairs, and also might get looked up light by some strong ace highs. Therefore, I go for it and bet 425. Benji takes his time and really thinks this one through, but ends up making the right fold. Nice fold, Benji, and we scoop in another big one.
Here we see under the gun +1 open to 20. The cutoff calls, jack on the button calls, and we've got jack 10 offsuit on the big blind. We're going to be seeing a flop and completing the action. We make the call, and the flop comes 10-3-3 with 2 hearts. We check to the pre-flop aggressor, Joey, who c-bets for $35. The boy calls, gets back to me. We're sticking around with top pair. We make the call. So we're 3 ways to a turn with about 187 in the middle, and it's an offsuit 9. I check, Joey now checks, and the boy takes the lead and bets 80. We make the call and Joey calls. Honestly, not feeling super good here. We could be losing to a better 10, 10-9, a 3. And we're off to a river though, which is the 9 of hearts. The 3rd heart brings in the front door flush draw, double pairs the board. Oi, we check, and now Joey takes the lead back and bets 155. The boy folds, and it's back on us. This has been a pretty weird line of betting from our opponents, and we go into the tank here. This is the 3rd time this session we've had a river spot versus Joey, so hats off to you, Joey, for putting me in some spots. This is an interesting one. We see the front door flush get there. This board has gotten so dynamic, but when we look at Joey's line, it doesn't make a ton of sense. For him to check turn and then take the betting lead back on the river, I can't really think of hands that do that make sense. It just doesn't really make sense. And when things don't make sense, and we've got a hand like this, I lean more towards a call. I think it made more sense for him to have value in the prior hand where we made the correct laydown. And here I just don't really get it. So we make the call. Joey has pocket fives, and we take this one down.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the last hand of the night. There's an early position open to 30, and we wake up with ace-queen offsuit in the big blind. I 3-bet to 105, and early position makes a call. The flop is great. It's ace-6 deuce with 2 clubs. I bet small to $60 like I would with all my hands, and Mighty Hammer makes a call. Turn is a 7 of clubs. Holding the queen of clubs here, there really aren't too many flush draw combinations Hammer will have, and I think most of his hands will range more towards top pair-like hands, and therefore, I want to keep betting, and bet I do. I make it 175. Hammer's not only got top pair though, he's also got the 10 of clubs to go along with it. He makes a call again after thinking for a bit, and the king of diamonds on the river is really a complete brick. It really shouldn't change anything, and I suspect we'll still have the best hand almost every time. I want to target worse, and I think a small bet really accomplishes that. I bet 260. Mighty Hammer shakes his head in confusion, says he can't really beat much, but decides to lay down the hammer and toss in the call. We show we milked him and win another nice juicy pot. Let's go.
With the spirit of Lionel Messi, into the game for 1,500, out for 33.30.
Into the game for 1,000, out for 4,050.
Come on, baby.
Let's go.
Drop a like,
Comment.
subscribe.
Peace.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. One more quick thing. It is our editor, John, also known as Nocturnal's birthday today. And he just had a massive score yesterday, his biggest win ever. So leave a comment below wishing John a happy birthday as well as congratulating him on some birthday run good.